Preparing your home for sale can be overwhelming. If you are thinking about selling your house in the next 6 to 12 months, I'm going to give you 8 tips to make sure that this is not stressful, and secondly, that you don't leave any money on the table. Tip number 1, you need to make sure that you are still understanding what the buyer is looking for now. I gotta tell you, when our child started to crawl on the floor, obviously we're going for our checkups, and the pediatrician, she said, I want you to walk around your house, actually crawl around your house like your baby is starting to crawl. And I want you to look from their level to see if there's anything that would not be safe for that child to touch, pick up, hurt themselves. And so doing that exercise, I thought to myself, that's the same thing I should be doing when I'm talking to our sellers and getting their house ready for market. I want you to put the glasses on of a buyer and look through your home on what does a buyer see? Not that what you've neglected over the last few years. Look, we all are okay with certain deficiencies in our home. These minor deficiencies, though, can be a stumbling block when you sell your house. Tip number 2, believing the value of your house is the same as a recent appraisal, maybe in the last couple of years, or if you type in things on a real estate portal and it gives you an estimate of that home. Those are not going to help you make sure that you are pricing your home correctly. Listen, we all have had some great appreciation in the last few years, and maybe we did a refinance or a cash out refi, and those are great, but don't use that evaluation on something that you are preparing for in the next 6 to 12 months. It's different. Now, I gotta ask you, when's the last time Mr. AI has stepped in your home? Probably never, right? Maybe they don't know if you've updated the HVAC unit. Maybe they don't know that you put in a 50-year architectural shingle in the last 12 years and it's got a ton of time left on it. Maybe they didn't know that you put a hardwood floors or refinished them. These are things that Mr. AI does not know. And you need to make sure that you have your real estate team coming in to take a look at your property and giving you a better evaluation than what the online estimate says. And then secondly, appraisers. Appraisals that you've had even a couple of years ago, they're great for square footage unless you've added anything to it, but they don't know the market trends right now. So don't lean in on what that old appraisal said for what the value of your home is now. Tip number 3 is really thinking that your house is worth way more than it really is. Because see, what can happen is if you do think that your house is worth more than it really is, you're already dreaming about the next home, the next area, maybe purchasing in the mountains of Colorado or the sunny beaches of Florida, and now you have a wrong idea of what money you're going to be able to use. I don't want you to put the cart before the horse. I want you to have a really good idea of what the value of your home is so that when you are house hunting in these other areas, that you have a really good idea of what type of home you want to purchase and you can afford. Tip number 4, over-improving on the wrong things in your house can leave a ton of money on the table. Look, if you are considering selling your house or relocating in the next 6 to 12 months, you need to make sure that you are using your money wisely. Smart improvements that will get great ROI as well as potentially make the decision faster for the buyer. Look, we don't know what the market will be like in 6 to 12 months, but we do know what buyers are willing to pay for. There's not a buyer out there that a new roof is not appealing to them, that newer windows are not appealing, that refinished floors aren't appealing. Updated or refreshes to the bathroom. Those are things that are appealing to them. But if you're going to be considering doing some major changes, maybe putting in some kind of new design that is not trending, you need to be careful. That is not probably the best way to use your money when you're getting ready to sell your property. You need to make sure that it is something that is very appealing to a wide audience of buyers. That is where you're going to get the most money on the sale of your home. Tip number 5. Don't think that an out-of-state or out-of-town buyer is just going to pay this premium for your house because they don't know. That's not true. Listen, every single good real estate portal online tells you a ton of data. You can see when the house sold. You can see how many days of market it took. You can also see how much over or below list price that house sold for. So in any app that a consumer is looking at, they're able to get this information. They know it. They're not walking here on day 1 and looking in your neighborhood and saying, wow, that looks great, I think I'll just buy it. No, they have the data at their fingertips and they will use it. I don't know a consumer out there that I've worked with that doesn't know, a buyer or seller, that doesn't know what's happening in their neighborhood. Now, the things that they don't know is a seller or a buyer is how did that price get determined? And so when you're consulting with our real estate team, it's going to be important that you're able to ask these questions. How many buyers came through their home? How many contracts did they have? Did they have any appraisal issues? Were there multiple offers? Did the buyer use VA, FHA, conventional financing? Did they waive certain contingencies? How long did it take for the appraisal to come in? Were there any issues with the home inspection? These are things that your agent, your team should be asking, and they should have that information to help you understand what the market dynamics are. And what's even better is be tracking that for 6, 12 months. Why? Because you can see if there's any shifts going on in the market. You see, the goal of the agent that you're going to hire is that their goal is to make you just as good of an expert on what the value of your house is based on what the current trends are in the market. And when you have that, you are setting yourself up for success, and you're then able to price your house accordingly, and then you have expectations of what your proceeds will look like. If not, then you're really gonna be frantic on figuring out how to do this and do it a smart way of selling your home with less stress. Tip number 6. So as I just said, market trends are important. So make sure that you understand that. Are buyers paying more for a property that has refinished floors, or would they like luxury vinyl planks on the main level? Are they paying more for a property that has a kitchen that has been refreshed, or are they looking for that wall to be completely knocked out between the kitchen and the dining room? Are buyers paying more for a driveway that's just been sealed in a few places, or buyers paying more just to see that there's mulch just spread out over an area of the yard that can't get a lot of sunlight, and so there's just gonna fill it? Or are they consulting with the landscaper to think about a smart design to make use of that space? You see, buyers need to see functionality. They don't always understand that. And if you can show functionality, you can show practicality of how you use the space, every space, inside the house, outside the house. These are going to be appealing, and they help the buyer see the potential of your home. You've got to showcase it that way. Tip number 7, so you don't leave any money on the table, is you've got to make sure you're doing thorough research on what's happening with your neighbors' homes that are selling. Look, it's going to be important if you can go back when you're working with your real estate team to look back 12 months, maybe even a year or two before that, to start seeing the cycle of when properties go on the market in your neighborhood, and then how long it takes to sell. Because all of those kind of things start to understand the timing for you. If you are 6 to 12 months, I say 6 to 12 because that means that you might have some flexibility. It's going to be great to be able to look historically to see when's the optimal time for me to put the house on the market. We talk to our clients sometimes when they are talking about 6 months out, and they say, when's the best time for me to sell your house? And we're not going to just give you this like, well, we like to say that it's in February, or we think April's the best one because April is the best time of the year. It might be. But there are some times when we will look at a client and tell them, do you like the Super Bowl? Maybe Super Bowl Sunday is the best time, based on what we've seen historically. Or, we've seen that in your neighborhood, most of the homes that have sold for the highest price were selling in late May. Well, why is that, Tim? I don't know. The schools are getting out in that area at that time. We're starting to see the PCS is happening, the military order happening at that time. See, there's all these external factors that help understand that. And one of the best things that you have as a homeowner is that you get to learn about the trends, the historical trends, and see how that helps you time your sale and your next move. And tip number 8, there's a part of this process that is emotional. Make sure that sellers understand the buyer's triggers. For instance, how does the house look on the outside? When you walk in the home, does it feel clean? Does it feel refreshed? Does it feel like it's maintained well? And when we walk through homes, it's very easy for them to sense the condition of the home. So make sure the curb appeal says that this is an attractive home. Make sure the front door, there's not any type of cobwebs anywhere. These little details trigger emotional responses to the buyer, and they're starting to formulate an opinion of the value and how they see themselves in the home. Every room must have a function, and there's some homes that have a multi-purpose room. That's great. Let's showcase it. And one of the best ways for us to showcase those things are obviously with staging, or at least consulting with a stager. We do this with every one of our listings. I hope these 8 tips were helpful for you, and I can't wait to see you on the next one.